Today we're beginning our journey at Novospassky Monastery, one of Moscow's oldest and most historic monasteries. Many of my days in Moscow begin beneath the city streets. I've come to realize that some of the best parts of exploring this city happen before I ever reach my destination. The historic metro isn't just transportation. Its stations are works of art, and some have talented musicians making the journey every bit as rewarding as where I'm going. Before entering Novospassky Monastery, I took a walk through the peaceful Novospassky Pond Square, a landscaped park that offers beautiful views of the monastery's historic walls and bell tower. It was here I decided to stop and have some lunch before venturing inside. Scattered throughout the grounds are broken monuments, carved stone fragments, and pieces of architecture that have survived centuries of Moscow's turbulent history. Rather than throwing them away, the monastery has preserved many of these remnants as silent witnesses to the past. Some were damaged by war, others by fires, rebuilding projects, or the anti-religious campaigns of the Soviet era, when many churches and monasteries across Russia suffered destruction or neglect. Today, these weathered stones remind visitors that history isn't always perfectly preserved. Sometimes it's found in the broken pieces that remain. As you walk among them, it's hard not to wonder what buildings they once belonged to, or how many generations of pilgrims passed by these same stones before they found their resting place here. The towering yellow and white bell tower dominates the monastery skyline. Completed in the late 18th century, it was once one of the tallest structures in Moscow. For centuries, its bells marked the hours, called worshippers to prayer, and welcomed pilgrims long before the monastery itself came into view. This is the Transfiguration Cathedral, the centerpiece of Novospassky Monastery. Its brilliant gold central dome, surrounded by 4 blue domes covered with golden stars, is one of Moscow's most recognizable monastery skylines. But this church is important for more than its beauty. Before the Romanovs became Russia's ruling dynasty, many of their ancestors were buried here, making Novospassky the family's spiritual home and an important link to the origins of the Romanov dynasty. As I pass through the first gate, it quickly becomes clear that Krutítskoye Podvórye is unlike anywhere else in Moscow. Every step reveals another piece of history, from weathered brick walls to centuries-old churches that have survived wars, revolutions, and the passage of time. On my left stands the Cathedral of the Dormition of the Blessed Virgin Mary, easily recognized by its 5 black domes rising above the complex. Built primarily in the 17th century on the foundations of earlier churches, it has survived as the spiritual heart of Krutítskoye for generations. Its red brick walls and dark domes give it a distinctive appearance that set it apart from the colorful churches found elsewhere in Moscow. Founded in the 13th century, Krutítskoye became the residence of powerful bishops who oversaw the Orthodox Church in this region. It served as both a religious center and an important administrative complex for hundreds of years. One of the most remarkable features is the beautifully decorated Teremok Gate and its covered passageway. Built in the late 1600s, its colorful glazed tiles and intricate brickwork are considered masterpieces of old Russian architecture and have survived almost unchanged for more than 3 centuries. Unlike many of Moscow's famous landmarks, Krutítskoye feels quiet and almost hidden. Walking these paths, it's easy to imagine what life looked like here long before modern Moscow grew around it. The peaceful courtyards, historical buildings, and ancient churches make this one of the city's best preserved windows into Russia's past. Stepping inside the museum, I immediately noticed that this isn't the kind of place where everything is locked behind glass. Many of the displays are interactive, allowing visitors to handle reproductions of historical objects and get a real sense of what everyday life was like centuries ago. You can pick up weapons, try on pieces of armor, and examine clothing and equipment that bring medieval Russia to life in a way that books simply can't. The museum itself is housed in one of the historic buildings that once served the bishops and church officials who lived and worked here, making this much more than a collection of artifacts. You're exploring history inside the very walls where that history unfolded. I really enjoyed the collection of pottery. While many of the pieces are only fragments, they tell archaeologists an incredible amount about daily life. Simple cooking pots, storage jars, and household vessels reveal how people prepared food, stored supplies, and lived hundreds of years ago. Even broken pieces can help experts determine the age of a settlement and the techniques used by the craftsmen who made them. As I continued through the exhibits, there were carved stone fragments and architectural details that once belonged to earlier buildings on the site. These surviving pieces help historians understand how this place changed and expanded over the centuries. Rather than rebuilding from scratch, each generation often built upon what came before, leaving layers of history beneath the ground. The museum also displays beautifully decorated ceramic fragments and glazed tiles recovered during archaeological excavations around the complex. Many of these once decorated church walls, stoves, or important buildings. Their colors and patterns remind us that medieval Moscow was far more colorful than many people imagine today. Even after centuries underground, some of the original glazes still shine. There are also metal artifacts recovered during excavations. There are weapon fragments, tools, hardware, and other iron objects that once served practical purposes in everyday life. Some smaller pieces may have been decorative fittings or personal ornaments, offering a glimpse into both the military and civilian lives of the people who once lived and worked here. After exploring the museum, I had the opportunity to climb upstairs onto the historic covered gallery overlooking the grounds. The first thing I noticed were several old iron crosses displayed along the walkway. These were probably original church crosses that once stood atop the domes or rooftops of the complex. After centuries of exposure to the elements, they were carefully replaced and preserved here as reminders of the site's long history. continued along the gallery, the elevated walkway offered beautiful views of the cathedral, courtyards, and surrounding buildings, giving me a unique perspective that most visitors never experience from ground level. At the end of the gallery hangs a small collection of church bells. In the Russian Orthodox tradition, bells are more than simple instruments. They announce worship, celebrate feast days, and have echoed across these grounds for centuries. It's a fitting way to end a visit to one of Moscow's most remarkable historic sites. Lying at the end of a path, I found, even these broken bricks and carved stone fragments tell a story. They remind us that every excavation here uncovers another piece of its centuries-old history. As I was leaving, I found this little cutie, but she wasn't into attention from strangers. I found more metro station art and another St. George statue on my way to the Moskovsky department store. It's a large, remodeled Soviet-era 4-story shopping center with all kinds of independent shops and kiosks. While there, I had dinner on the 4th floor food hall at a place called Kartoha. I had zharkoy, which is pork and potato stew, with black bread and this draft beer, before heading home. Along the way I noticed something interesting. From almost anywhere I've been in this bustling city of millions of people, I can always see new buildings being constructed. After today's adventures, I thought I would smoke a Cuban cigar I found. It's called a Guantanamera. Let's see how it smokes. It's nice. It's mild, earthy. Really nice. Hard to get Cubans in America. This is nice.